Hello everyone, I'm Anubit and welcome to yet another Team Fortress 2 mapping video. So last time I was working on the ending part of that basically, where I would deploy or drop the payload or bomb carrier, I guess you call it, into the red base basically. And I basically made the train tracks onto there and had the port open for it to get in there, etc. And I was kind of thinking, what should I make for this video? Well, what would make sense to do and what would be nice to see? And well, in the end I decided to go with continuing on this part really. And by that I mean that I wanted to build the indoor part, so to say, the actual room where you would drop the card into, as you also can see here. And as I mentioned also, I wasn't really entirely sure what I should make in there, how it should look like. I mean, I was both thinking some kind of wood, some kind of concrete, some kind of metal or something. And then started to think about how, again, did I want the story, so to say, to be built around. Where the blues would be in, well, lumber, small wooden houses basically, where they would be the working class. And the reds would be the, well, the industrial people, so to say, in big concrete buildings and so on, and would more or less rule over the blue. And I thought that some kind of concrete or metal, which it is not being metal that is, would seem the most logic, I guess. So I fiddle a bit around with different metal textures. I want them to look a bit nice, so to say, while still looking into, still fitting in basically. Again, I haven't been texturing the outside part of this, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing, so to say. I mean, it doesn't influence the indoor part necessarily, and I didn't, not wanting to. Again, I expect to make some kind of concrete outside, but I thought this is some kind of important part of the facility which should be kept not hidden, but at least intact. And I thought metal would probably be the wisest choice, so to say. So it was metal walls and metal roof of different textures, and then these lovely, I don't even know what to call them really, some kind of, well, bars basically, I think is the word I'm looking for, to basically support the roof, I guess. I mean, also just so it wouldn't be just plain walls in there that could be very dull to look at, which is the main thing, I guess. And about extending them, it took an awful lot of time for me to make look right. They weren't really built for that. So there's a lot of moving back and forth with those till I made it look somewhat decent, I guess you could say. And when that finally had happened, it was basically about, well, copying it to the other corners, which, again, it took a bit, but not as long as making them in the first place. But other than that, yeah, I was thinking, how much should I add into this small room, considering the player's not able to go there. So it's just something to see from the outside, and only when the card actually is approaching. So it's kind of about finding some kind of balance between having some nice props. Also, you can see where I'm looking for some kind of sign, just to make it add a bit more when looking in there. So it isn't just pure metal. Well, it's a metal sign, but you get the point. Some kind of sign that would look nice and into place, I guess you could say. And this was the closest I got, really. It may not make entire sense, but it's just about, like, watch out, don't drop down here, even though it's blocked. I may remove that part though, and then just make them die if they fall down there. But then again, that would probably be a bad thing. So yeah, again, it's about finding some kind of nice balance between it being simple and it not being too simple / boring to look at, which can be a bit tricky, I'd say. Then there's about something I am not so familiar with, basically, was finding some kind of light inside the room. I want some kind of LED light, like an alarm going off, and that's of course the thing when a bomb is about to be dropped in there. So I thought this is probably the nicest and the closest we get. But again, light is about some of that's one of the few things I haven't really been working a lot with in mapping yet. So it was a bit of a new, I won't say scene, but a bit of a new thing to me. So there's a lot of trial and error where you won't even get to see all of this in the video. What you get to see is more or less how it ended up being, at least for one of them. I decided to make two next to each other, or opposite each other rather. Which again should indicate with some red light that, well, things are going to be messed up. Because they obviously would be. And it took me a long time to get right, because there are a lot in the lights to get to work. I mean, this is just the thing I had was just a prop basically, which means it's only the shell. No lights come from that at all. It's only the actual item you see, the actual lamp, but there's no lights coming from it whatsoever. In a bit, when I'm done fiddling with this freaking ground here, you'll be able to see soon enough that I start to add different light elements to it. An actual light bulb, basically, a small spot going from it as well to widen the light, basically. As well as some small sprites put out just outside the bulb, the actual light prop that is, to make it look like it's shining. Because if those hadn't been there, it basically just looked like some red light coming from a source you cannot see, which I obviously wouldn't want. That would look a bit odd, I guess you'd say. Sorry about that. So the final bars here are getting added, and then it's actually on to seeing lights being made. That's a bit more interesting, I guess. Again, you see the two shells only so far, and then I'm about to add the first parts. Again, first the light bulb she has actual light element, deciding what color it should be, trying to make it fit with the actual light of, or the actual color of the prop, then the small spot, deciding how wide it should be, making it give it some kind of nice glow effect, so it wouldn't just be a stationary color, so it would switch a bit around. Here are the small sprites. You can't see them just yet because this lovely black bar here, but it'll disappear soon enough. But it's about basically all of these things combined give the experience, I guess would be the word to use to see it as a whole. Because again, everything is needed to give them the right feeling, I guess is the way to put it. I ended up doing a bit over because I even thought myself these black bars were a problem. But that's apparently just a thing showing up every now and then, which I didn't realize at the time. But yeah, I added two, because the normal lights, I mean, it's not these white ones, should actually be fine with just one sprite, but this one covered a bit more space, or surface, I guess, requiring me to use another one. This were mainly the ones giving me the most trouble, really, these freaking sprites, to make it look just right. I was inside the actual game to see how it looked like so many times, and well, speaking of that, we'll basically jump into that right about now. You can see quickly how it ended up looking, combine those two in the editor, and then straight into the game itself, where the card will be approaching in a couple of seconds. We'll see the gate open up, and see the lights. It's not the easiest view really, but you can see they are flickering a bit basically. But that's basically for me, guys. I hope I'll see you next time. Take care.